One question, one follow-up.
Hey,
Our
good.
first
What is she doing down there? Made sure yesterday, by the way, that that was not artificial intelligence. That's exactly what she was doing. Who knows? Anyway, you know, folks, it's incredible to me that we've got nuclear catastrophe inching towards us. And it's not inching anymore. It's walking. It's close to galloping. And what are the world leaders concerned about right now? Giving $300 billion to India. I couldn't believe this. I just could not believe this. I'm going to find this slide for you later, but it's absolutely 300. No, did I say India? 300. No, that would never be true to us. They want to give $300 billion to third world countries so they can stop using oil. We're on the verge of a nuclear war, and we're still going to climate change conferences. I'm absolutely astounded at the irresponsibility that's going on. And Trudeau is still going to Taylor Swift concerts.
Thank you. Do you want a bracelet? Do you want a bracelet?
This is a prime minister my age who is trading friendship bracelets with teenage girls. Is there something wrong with this man? Is there something wrong with his head? I mean, that's all I can say. He is doing whatever he can to start a third world war. He's at this concert while his home city of Montreal is burning down, and he's got absolutely no interest in doing anything constructive. Now, remember now, and we got to show you this. Pierre Poilievre responded to this, you know, and I think, like I say, when Pierre does something good, I always say so. You act surprised. We are reaping what you sowed. This is what happens when the prime minister spends 9 years pushing toxic, woke identity politics, dividing and subdividing people by race, gender, vaccine status, religion, region, age, wealth, etc. On top of driving people apart. Justin Trudeau, of course, puts out a post saying, what we saw in the streets of Montreal last night was appalling. He didn't even see it. Acts of anti-Semitism, intimidation, and violence must be condemned wherever we see. Where have we heard that one before, Justin? Pull that talking point out of your grab bag of tricks. The RCMP are in communication with local police. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, they're in communication, are they? What did I tell you yesterday? What did Justin do? Justin Trudeau is the one who lied about India somehow being up to murder and mayhem. And he said he had evidence that India was plotting to kill Sikh or Khalistani extremists. He said he had the evidence. And the RCMP said they had the evidence. Trudeau lied about it. Then he double lied about it by saying, I'm not the one who suggested India was guilty of this. I'm not the one who suggested India was plotting. That was some criminal whistleblower. 3 things wrong here. He's lying about a lie, and he's calling any whistleblower criminal. That's the only way we're ever going to get to the bottom of anything in this Trudeau government is through whistleblowers, because Trudeau is incapable of telling the truth. This man is a gross embarrassment. He is a gross embarrassment. Things are getting worse as we are marching towards a nuclear war because of irresponsible politicians. It is absolutely frightening. And I'm going to get to that clip in a minute. But listen to how Trudeau is so detached from reality.
Families so that they can afford good meals, because the grocery prices are also going up.
Well, the most important thing that we needed to do to help families is bring down inflation. And we were able to do that. We brought down inflation, and we're seeing interest rates come down as well, which is making a huge difference for people and for families. That's why we're continuing to deliver the measures that are supporting people, whether it's childcare, whether it's dental care, whether it's investments in this school food program. And I take a little bit of issue with what you said about what the economy needs. What the economy needs is for people to be able to afford their groceries. What the economy needs is people to be able to be optimistic about the future we're building with good jobs, good opportunities for their kids. We're focused on Canadians. I'll let the bankers worry about the economy. We're focused on building opportunities for kids in a fundamental way, being there to support families, because an economy works when families are confident about the future. That's why we continue to grow the economy from the bottom up, from the middle out, while Pierre Poilievre talks about cutting supports for families, cutting the investments in the future that Canadians are going to be relying on.
Okay, so let the bankers worry about the economy. This is, of course, I said this yesterday. The funny money GST is all a distraction because he doesn't want anybody looking at his performance. And what is his performance? How is Justin Trudeau leading us into a nuclear war?
Months now talked about how important it is to degrade the capacity of the Russian military to strike into Ukraine with impunity, because Ukraine hasn't been able to strike on factories and military production sites in Russia. We have called for that for a while, so I think it's a good thing that the United States has done that and other partners are doing that. I had an excellent conversation with President Biden. He is a friend and an ally. We talked about a lot of different things, and we're going to continue to make sure we're working together in the coming months. There's a lot of speculation about what might happen after inauguration at the end of January, but between now and then, there's still an awful lot to do that we're very much focused on. I know that Ukraine was, I can tell you that Ukraine was brought up significantly by many, many people around the table, not just the G7. We are all extremely concerned about the impact of the destabilization of the rules-based order that Russia has engaged in. And that's why it is important, not just for Ukraine, but for democracies around the world, that we continue to step up. And we're very aware of potential challenges with President Trump coming in, bringing us together globally.
Oh, well, that's the next one. You'll love this clip with Giorgio Meloni. It is indicative of how crazy
Justin
this man
Trudeau
is,
was one of several G20 leaders who pressed the group to take action on Ukraine.
We are all extremely concerned about the impact of the destabilization of the rules-based order that Russia has engaged in.
And he acknowledged there was some urgency to get weapons, money, and support to Ukraine before the return of Donald Trump.
We're very aware of potential challenges with President Trump coming in, but we're not going to panic. We're going to continue to stay focused on getting the support to Ukraine that Ukraine needs to win this war.
Including to let Ukraine use American long-range missiles to strike targets inside Russia. It's a move Canada had long supported.
I think it's a good thing that the United States has done that and other partners are doing that.
Trudeau also said he was frustrated the G20 failed to use strong language to condemn Russian aggression.
No, it's not strong enough for me.
Trudeau will now prepare to host the G7 summit next June in Alberta, and he acknowledged that the return of Trump could make that difficult.
The challenge of working with an American president that doesn't always put multilateralism and symmetry at a high priority is going to be real.
It's too much to watch at times, I admit. This is what I wanted to show you earlier. This is what the world is obsessed with. This is what world leaders are obsessed with. COP29. We're still having climate change conferences at this stage when we are literally hours, days away from potential nuclear war. We're more concerned with giving away $300 billion to third world countries. Pay up, eh? Pay up! $300 billion. So they can what? Stop using oil? These people are delusional. They're out of their little heads. Justin Trudeau is an intellectual pygmy. He does not get anything except going to a Taylor Swift concert. He really thinks he can keep poking the nose of Russia and we're not going to have a war. Just keep firing the missiles. Keep firing the missiles. That's his philosophy. This is absolutely insane. Now, the NATO boss was holding talks with Donald Trump over the weekend, President-elect Donald Trump. Now, this guy is completely crazy about Ukraine. And of course, over the weekend, we heard Britain, the UK, is ready for war, ready to march into Russia. So is France. France is ready for war. Well, these people are insane. They're not ready. They couldn't even defend their own countries right now. Their militaries are a joke. Britain is not the UK of even the Margaret Thatcher years. You talk to any defense analyst who is looking at the cuts Britain has initiated on their defense forces over the last decade. They've denuded their military to the point that they're not even a good NATO member anymore. So, in Canada, we can't even do drill. And we think we're going to have a war with Russia. It's insane what's going on. That's all I can say. And yeah, France declares that Ukraine can use French scalp missiles against Russia. France wants to go to war too. Am I missing something here, people? As I've said time and time again, I was all for NATO during the Cold War. I think it was an effective organization that actually did ensure that the Soviet Union was contained, that Soviet expansionism was contained. We all believed that. We all worked towards that. The Cold War ended 30 years ago. Actually, longer. 35 years ago, the Cold War ended. And yet we're still pretending that we want a war with Russia. We didn't even want a war with Russia when it was communist. We realized that was unthinkable. We realized that was not winnable to have a nuclear war with Russia. Nobody was going to win. But we're talking today like it's not only possible, but it's inevitable. I don't know when the world went nuts. I don't know when these world leaders lost their minds and thought a nuclear war was something that was not only possible, but a likelihood, and something that was even desirable. But that's how they're talking. Now, I got a great clip of Justin Trudeau sitting with Giorgio Meloni, as he is apt to do. There we go.
In a very complicated
Back this up a bit. Now, you know this relationship has never gone well. Trudeau lectures this female prime minister because, of course, Justin Trudeau is a proto-feminist, didn't you know? Talk to any MP who has ever had to deal with this turd, and they'll tell you that he's a condescending bastard. And here he is again, trying to explain things to Giorgia Meloni. He just looks like she's just wishing this man would disappear.
That you've done on bringing us together on global issues in a very complicated time in the world has been incredibly appreciated and inspiring, and I look forward to picking up where to the place where you got us and continuing on it, whether it's conversations around complex global issues like the conflict in Ukraine and our standing so strongly against Russia's illegal invasion and pushing for peace and accountability under the international rules-based order. Some of the positionings that Italy is taking in terms of the LGBT rights, but I look forward to talking with you about that because we're here at the G7 as an assembly of countries that are promoting the kinds of strong values and democratic principles that the world needs, and I always look forward to those conversations with you.
Let's just zoom in on the Italian PM's face as Trudeau decided to mansplain democracy to her. Yeah, not happy. And this final look really sums up what all of us think of the repugnant, incompetent
Watch
Trudeau?
this.
Can we have that final look from Georgia, because she's not happy at all? We don't have it. We'll bring it to you later.
We found the sure.
Fatemi una... Però insomma ce l'ho, ma preferisco non dirla adesso. Ma per quello che riguarda, guardi, come ho vissuto, come vivo sempre le fake news, francamente, nel senso che, vabbè, insomma, il pronunciamento del Parlamento europeo, immagino che
Really
lei conosca,
quite
il
remarkable.
Parlamento europeo è un luogo politico.
That's pretty well explains it. So where are we here? It's a Sunday, November 24th. We have 1 week left in November. I thought if we were going to have a war, it would probably be as we always have them in late August or September. We always have them in the dying days of the summer, just before the harvest, and just before fall. And it's difficult to know exactly when a war is going to erupt. But I must say that Justin Trudeau, who's got the incredible nerve and hypocrisy to suggest that other people are not living up to his democratic values when he runs this country like a little autocrat. It's amazing. Justin Trudeau, who is irresponsibly watching the country fall apart while he dances at Taylor Swift concerts and exchanges friendship bracelets with 13-year-old girls. Justin Trudeau, who says, sure, fire some more missiles into Russia. Are you aware? And please don't go away, because what I'm going to show you momentarily will probably shock you. This is how a nuclear war is going to unfold if saner heads, which Justin Trudeau does not possess, do not prevail. We are on very dangerous ground right now. And the amazing thing to me, and I just want to talk to you as an ex-military guy who's the son of a military officer who's had family in the military for generations, who fought the Cold War, who has been deployed overseas, who is a veteran, who is proud to wear the uniform, and who says, I don't want a nuclear war because I know what it means. Let me tell you this. We've got people still going to climate change conferences in far off parts of the world to talk about how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. It's insane at this point to even be talking about this issue when we are so close to a war. Let me tell you what the climate will look like after a nuclear war. It'll be radioactive for 100 years or more. There won't be much life going on the surface of the globe. That's where we're headed. And climate change won't mean a damn thing at that point to anybody, because we won't be able to live a normal life. And the argument will be over. And we'll say, how did this happen? How did we arrive here? How did we get to the point where we had a nuclear war over Ukraine? When we didn't have a nuclear war when the Soviet Union invaded Hungary in 1956, when they invaded Czechoslovakia in 1968. No U.S. president talked about having a nuclear war when the Soviet Union misbehaved, because we knew nobody was going to win that. Yeah, there were some generals. You see them in that classic Stanley Kubrick film, Dr. Strangelove. You see them depicted as the crazy generals who think a nuclear war might be winnable. So let's get it over with. Yes, those people existed. Apparently, there were enough people elected who didn't think that way. Now it's the generals, the admirals, and the politicians are all talking from the same song sheet. Well, singing from the same song sheet, talking from the same script. They all think a nuclear war is somehow something we're going to get away with. We can win. And I'm telling you, I don't understand why people aren't out in the streets in Ottawa here, in Washington, saying, no, we're not having a nuclear war just so you can make some more money off of your stocks in the companies that produce these arms. We're not going to have a nuclear war just because you think Russia shouldn't be fighting Ukraine. Donald Trump is going to be president in less than 2 months. We need to just put a pause on the insanity, to stop the nonsense until we can get a negotiated settlement. I think Putin's shown a lot of restraint. No, I'm not getting money from the Russian government to say that. That doesn't mean I'm in the pay of the Russian government to make an objective analysis of this war. I think Putin is waiting for Donald Trump to become president. God, I hope so. Wait till you see this report. Because this is one of the retired colonels I respect the most. Colonel McGregor. You've seen him. If you watch Redacted, he's on Redacted quite frequently. He's on one of my other favorite shows with Judge Napolitano, Judging Freedom. And this is a guy who speaks truth to power. There really is such a phrase. There really is such an expression, and it's valid with this guy. Let's have a listen to this. And you will be shocked, because if you think Canada is immune from this, that it's just going to be the United States hit, that it's just going to be some countries in Western Europe hit by a Russian retaliation if we continue to attack Russia with missiles. Canada is on the list, just like we were in the Cold War. And my backyard here in Ottawa will be one of the first places hit. And I doubt very much anybody is going to be alive in this area if that happens.
It's moving at thousands of feet per second. In other words, these are warheads moving at thousands of feet per second. In other words, these are hypersonic missiles that no weapons that we have in our inventory today can stop. They carried, fortunately, conventional warheads. This means these ballistic missiles left their launching pad and then went into high orbit and then came down and struck these targets. In one case, it may have been a new hypersonic missile that traveled at very low altitude and then struck the target. I don't know the details. The point is, this is a clear and unambiguous signal from President Putin and the Russian state to the United States and the West. Stop what we are doing right now. Do not attack the Russian homeland. This war is effectively at an end. Let it end. Don't try to perpetuate this, because if you continue down this road, you will find yourselves at war with the Russian state and the Russian people. That means that those weapons that were used could be nuclear warheads, multiple independently targeted reentry vehicles. In other words, multiple warheads showering a target with great precision, annihilating everything with potentially a 50-mile radius. This is very serious stuff. I don't think Americans are aware of how seriously these threats that we have made and these attacks that we have sponsored and sought to execute have been taken in Russia. Remember, yesterday I told you that the nuclear forces of the Russian armed forces are in the highest state of alert that they've been in history.
You did.
They are serious. They are very worried. They think that we do want a war with them. They are convinced that we want to destroy them. Now, that may be true for some on the lunatic fringe in the White House or the Hill, but that is not true for the American people. It's not something they voted for. It's not something they want. And that's where we are right now. The churches in Russia are filling up. People are praying in Russia for peace. The government wants peace. Putin wants peace. They're not interested in attacking us or Western Europe. They never have been. But they are responding to what they see as an existential threat to the Russian society.
Well, and I'll get back to this in a minute because what I'm going to show you next is going to shock you. But I encourage you to pray for peace. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're a Hindu or a Sikh. Pray for peace this weekend, this Sunday, because we are that close to disaster. And tell your member of parliament, whether he or she is liberal, conservative, or NDP, that you don't want to continue to give billions to Ukraine for as long as it takes. You don't want Ukraine to be able to fire U.S., U.S., French, or British missiles into Russia to start a war. You want the war to end. You want peace in that part of the world because it's not worth this. And idiots like Justin Trudeau continue to talk about we're in this war for as long as it takes till the end. The end of what? End of civilization? You won't be going to any more Taylor Swift concerts, Justin. Now watch what's coming up next because this shocked me when I saw this.
Ritter reports that an American admiral, a four-star by the name of Buchanan, made an absurd statement this afternoon that we're prepared to engage in a nuclear conflict with Russia. A, if true, how could he make that without authorization from the Secretary of Defense or even the White House? B, the statement itself defies reality that we're prepared to get into a nuclear conflict with Russia. To what end? The destruction of humanity?
Non-nuclear and nuclear capabilities, we certainly don't want to have an exchange, right? I think everybody would agree if we have to have an exchange, then we want to do it in terms that are most acceptable to the United States. So it's terms that are most acceptable to the United States that puts us in a position to continue to lead the world.
Lead the world where? Yeah. We need to have reserve capacity. You're not going to spend all your resources to win, right? Because then you'll have nothing to deter with, Buchanan said. According to him, the use of nuclear weapons should allow the United States to continue to lead the world. The United States won't have a world to lead. And for these bozos, these clowns, to continue to insist that they're leading anything, I'll come back to this in a second. For these clowns to suggest there's anything that they're leading is the height of narcissism and ego. They've got nothing, they're not leading anything. And they will have nothing left of the world to lead if we continue to follow their advice. I found this absolutely astounding.
If the USA and UK launch a coordinated missile attack on Russia, destroying all major cities and killing President Putin along with the entire military leadership, Russia has a backup system in place for retaliation, the dead hand. This automated system is designed to respond to such a scenario. Sensors across Russia will collect data on radiation, heat, and seismic activity, confirming a nuclear strike. The system will then await instructions from Moscow's command center. If no response is received, Dead Hand will assume the leadership has been wiped out. At that point, the system will autonomously launch approximately 4,000 nuclear missiles at the USA and its NATO ally, triggering global devastation. Destruction will be widespread, ensuring that even in death, Russia retaliates. This kind of automated retaliation system ensures that no matter the outcome, the consequences of such an attack would be catastrophic. In the end, the use of nuclear weapons guarantees mutual destruction, a grim reminder of the fragile balance of power.
And that's where we are right now. The churches in Russia are filling up. People are praying in Russia for peace. The government wants peace. Putin wants peace.
Justin Trudeau doesn't want peace. Joe Biden doesn't want peace. Herr Keir Steimer doesn't want peace. Emmanuel Macron doesn't want peace. These people are nuts. I think you and I want peace. Let's pray for peace today. And let's get a hold of our MPs and let them know. Stop marching in lockstep with Justin Trudeau on this war. Stop trying to start the Third World War. It will be our last. There won't be another. We always understood that through the decades of the Cold War. Nuclear war was not an option. Mutually assured destruction meant we didn't have one. So please, get in contact with your MPs. Let's get serious about what really is serious. Stop pretending that the real danger to mankind is climate change. The imminent danger to mankind is a nuclear war. And because of distractions, our idiot politicians can't understand that simple truth. It's beyond their comprehension. I encourage you, please, pray for peace and talk to your MPs, and let's pull this thing back from the brink while we still can. And on that note, I'll give you a nice little Christmas message to go on with.
Ho, 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 ho!
Yes, have a look at our store. There's lots available there for Christmas. That's the first time I've shown that little advert. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be showing it a bit more over the next couple of weeks. Get one of the I Am a Canadian, a Free Canadian hoodies or t-shirts. And let's be a part of the team. And please consider being a part of our locals team and we're going to be talking more about that this week, because we want to really show a sense of unity. And we're moving ahead. Thanks for watching today, folks. God bless you on this Sunday. Have a great rest of a Sunday, but keep on fighting the real enemy. Keep resolving to resist, and I'll be back again tomorrow.